What's up, everybody? It's your boy MIQI, and tonight on Mickey Vision, we're going to be talking about the difference between tolerance and acceptance, and how important it is and how impactful they are to every aspect of our lives. I own the rights to this music, so let's get into it. A lot of people use, tolerance and acceptance as the same thing when they actually have two different definitions. So let's read them. Tolerance, according to Google, is the ability or willingness to tolerate something, in particular, the existence of opinions or behaviors that one does not necessarily agree with. We tolerate everything in life. Is a level of tolerance, and different people have different levels of tolerance for different aspects of their lives. Examples. How much am I going to tolerate my friend leaving me hanging in order to have that friendship? I have a dog in my life. How much am I going to tolerate the things that I can do or can't do or have to change or alter in order to have a dog? Like traveling. If I need to travel, I have to make arrangements for my dog. I have to feed the dog, take care of the dog, make sure the dog goes to the vet, so on and so forth. And there's all these different aspects of things that I have to alter in order to have a dog. I've dated people that have had allergies to dogs. I've dated people that are scared of dogs or uncomfortable around dogs. And that's something that I have to understand in my life in order to have this dog in my life. How much mess and crap am I going to put up with in my job in order to keep that job? It's a tolerance level with everything in life. I mean, it can be applied to literally anything. Acceptance. Definition, according to Google, the action of consenting to receive or undertake something offered. The action or process of being received as adequate, suitable, typically to be admitted into a group, meaning accepting this person for who they are, or accepting this particular situation at your job in order to keep it. When it boils down to it, they say you have to accept people for who they are or not have them in your life. If they're a cigarette smoker, you can't force that or change that. That's something that they have to do on their own if they decide to change that. But ultimately, if you don't like cigarette smoke and you don't like the smell of that, but this is a cigarette smoker and you love this person, you have to accept that part of who they are. A personal example of the difference between acceptance and tolerance. When I came out and accepted myself at 17 as a homosexual male, I finally learned to just accept who I was, as I am a homosexual male that likes big boys. That's all I like. That's all I'm attracted to. That's all I fuck with. It's nothing personal against skinny people. It's nothing personal against women. Women are beautiful guys, creatures, and I love them to death. I love my mother. I love my women. But fuck that. I'm a big boy chaser. It is what it is. When I was 18 years old, or 17, or however old I was, I told my father. My father was very angered. He was very old school with it. He felt that men shouldn't even have earrings. I mean, it's a very sensitive subject for him. So he told me that he would never tolerate it. No, he said the words, "I will never understand it, and I will never accept it." And I said, "That's cool, Pops, because I don't understand it, and I only recently accepted it because I got tired of wanting to die every day. I got tired of hating myself and thinking that I was this huge disappointment to my family and to God, and that God had turned his back on me, that as if he didn't love me, when I know that God loves me. I know that I love God. I know that I'm God's child, and that has nothing to do with preference or any of that." So I said, "Pops, I'm not asking you to understand it because I don't. I'm not asking you to accept it because I just recently accepted it. But I am asking you to tolerate it. Tolerate it the same way that we tolerated the bull crap that we went through, as a home, in order to forgive our father or to forgive ourselves in our situations." I told my mother this recently. I actually told her, I believe it was this year or last year, and this happened over a decade ago. I'm 34 years old. I'm about to be 35, and I told him when I was 18 And my mother said, "You said that to him?" And I said, "Absolutely." And she said, "What did he say?" And I said, "Mom, he didn't say anything for 2 years. But eventually, we made amends and we hugged it out and we said we loved each other and we forgave each other and we forgave ourselves, or at least I know I did. I hope and pray that he forgave himself before he passed in 2011, rest his soul. I love you, Pops." You know? But back to the message, you know, in life we just want to go through, hello, and we have to regulate our tolerance levels. Because everything in life is about how much we're tolerating to put up with certain aspects of our lives, we need to be in control of them. And I keep mentioning the word triggers, but it's so psychological. The triggers of happiness, the triggers of depression, the triggers of anger. There's triggers that cause us to not tolerate things or grow impatient or to go in, you know, on people when we normally are not necessarily that person, but this certain situation is pissing us off and therefore we end up, you know, not being able to tolerate it enough. So the message is, there's a thin line between tolerance and acceptance, but they are two different things. Practice patience and practice learning to grow on being able to tolerate things that you may not necessarily agree with. But make no mistake, if you are going to have a person in your life, you have to accept them for who they are. I have associates over here and coworkers over there and guests over here and problems over there, and I have to tolerate all of that. I have to tolerate it in order to have this job and be productive at this job. But if this coworker of mine is an atheist and believes differently from what I believe, if I want to have them outside of the job in my life, I need to accept them for who they are. Be blessed.